seeing Ruby go from a sickly child that was afraid of falling every time they moved, to having her mother figure Ai help her out and overcome her fear of falling, and allow her to achieve something that she was never able to do in her previous life, to now seeing her in the current era being able to dance with her new idol group, is legitimately a very beautiful moment. Not gonna lie, I got emotional seeing this scene because it's like seeing just how much she's grown and the overall impact that I has obviously had on Ruby's life, even after all these years within the story, it just really speaks for itself. And its character progression and development and just getting to see the development behind the scenes, or just getting to know that she put a lot of time and effort into learning how to dance and she's really good at it, is beautiful. And I love seeing that because it's very subtle. It's something that obviously not a lot of people are really going to think too hard about, but just seeing how, Ruby in this moment, like, she's legitimately able to, like, dance and she's happy and excited and she's no longer worried about falling over is beautiful. And one thing I want to mention, though, before I go any further with this episode, is that Oshi no Ko broke another record. It actually managed to become another interesting series that got to be on the cover of a Japanese Model Magazine. And this is something that just does not happen. Like, it does not happen often. The only anime that actually comes to mind, manga and anime series that comes to mind that's actually been able to do this, is Jojo. Jojo is one of the only selected, like, series that has been able to be on this magazine cover, which makes a lot of sense because of just, like, Araki's overall connection with Gucci and all that, and just the outfits of Jojo and the way they're designed. It makes a lot of sense. But seeing Oshi no Ko get a cover for this magazine is just something that you don't see for anime. Like, you just don't see it often. It's very rare. So once again, Oshi no Ko breaks another record and steps into the realm of something that you just don't see often for a lot of series, and it makes me very happy to see just this series is really blowing up, and it's no longer just this small niche community. It really is huge. I mean, hell, I've heard from people when it comes to this series that all over in Japan, the song is playing everywhere. Like, you can't escape the Oshi no Ko opening song, Idol, because it is literally playing everywhere, which is funny, but I know it can be annoying to a degree, but it really just goes to show the overall popularity of it, and it really just came in sweeping like a storm. It makes me happy to see. But let's get on topic. Let's actually talk about this episode of Oshi no Ko and what it does, honestly, because every individual character within this episode kind of gets their own little development or progression in their own way, and kind of explaining their motivations, and it's really beautiful. And to kind of give a blanket summary of what this episode does, it showcases the joy and the hell of content creation and what it means to be a content creator, but also the how much it's required to be one, like in terms of like luck, talent, skill, effort, just consistency. You get to see just all these little things kind of put in your face throughout this episode, and I don't know how many actually noticed it, but maybe I noticed it because I'm a, content creator. I upload videos and stuff on YouTube, but like the whole situation with like, Mem-cho in this episode, to also getting a little bit more of like Kana's development and how she feels about things, to Ruby as well, to getting to see a little bit more about, Aqua and just kind of how he was a fan of Ai, and we know the truth of everything, but like in a way he is a fan of Ai, and learning about, his idols. It's just like very fascinating. I love the different perspectives of this episode, kind of showcasing the goods and the bads, and like how things can really just go off track instantly without you even being aware of it. So let's actually start with that. Let's talk about Mem-cho and kind of like her history, what happened with her, etc., and kind of how she was someone that wasn't able to achieve what she wanted. I mean, we already kind of knew about this, but actually seeing it within this episode kind of clarifies her history, her past, and why she even decided to become an idol. At one point in time, she was going to be an idol. She was legitimately going to be someone that was going to be on the big stage. She was doing very well, but suddenly when she was about to, her mother got very sick, and she was not able to, pursue her dream. And so she had to drop out of school. She had to, help out her, siblings, help them, go to college, while also helping pay for her mother that was in the hospital and allowing her to get better, paying the bills, etc. Basically, Mem-cho had to be the mother figure of the family for a while, the breadwinner, and so she had to push aside everything and be selfless for her family. And she didn't necessarily need to do that, but it was the right thing, so to speak. And she did it out of the kindness of her heart. She basically casted aside everything that was in her life. For instance, she was potentially going to become an idol. She was, someone that was going to have big dreams and a big plan in the future, but obviously that didn't happen, and she had to push everything aside. Eventually, because of this, overall path and what happened in her life, she basically was, she decided to be a content creator on YouTube. She started creating YouTube videos. She went with the whole line of like, oh, I'm like a high school student and all that. That's, living by themselves, etc. And it really made her like do really well on the platform, and she made a name for herself. And obviously she's been somewhat successful as a content creator. So when you think about that, just it kind of explains that life is a lot of like ups and downs, and even if everything is going right for you, sometimes things just take a completely different direction, and you can't do anything about it, and it goes completely off track, which, thanks to everything that happened, honestly, it allowed her to become, like I said, a YouTuber, and it allowed her to get this experience in life, but then also have these connections created, like with Aqua and, the whole organization, like the Strawberry Productions that we see throughout this series. So legitimately, I do think that things do happen somewhat for a reason sometimes, but just seeing kind of Mem-cho's history and what happened to her, it wasn't because she wasn't good enough, so to speak. It wasn't because she was bad at being an idol. It's just thanks to everything that happened, she pushed aside all the stuff, which I think is interesting. It's a very interesting perspective just to see what happens to people's dreams and goals in life, that, just one little thing could instantly derail everything, which that gets into the next character. The next character to talk about is Kana. I think Kana is a very fascinating character. We've gotten a lot of development about her, basically how she was a child actor, someone that was a rising star in the industry, and obviously because of her attitude and everything else outside of her control, she eventually dwindled in popularity. She is somewhat popular, but overall she is nowhere near what she once was. Not many people remember her. If they do, it's just a passing thought, and that's about it, which is legitimately sad, because we get to see examples of just how talented she is at the end of this episode. Like, when we see this song start playing, like, this is a very beautiful sequence, honestly. Like, the animators that did this made it look exactly like what an AMV or a music video would be for an anime. I legitimately do like this so much. It's a legit good sequence. But the point of the matter is that we get to see how talented Kana was. That, one of her big hit songs was her being basically like singing the bell pepper exercise. She was just a little kid dancing in a bell pepper costume, and it made waves, got very popular, and it's what put her on the map. And that was the song that got very popular. However, she released a bunch of different songs, as we can see, and basically she did have a very, very good voice. She had a really good sequence here with the music video, and it's just like, wow, she really is talented. She isn't really off-key or anything. She is talented as a singer. But it's very clear just by the reactions of like Mem-cho and, Ruby, they didn't know about the song, which kind of, makes us understand the worldview that a lot of people were unaware of Kana's music and different songs she's created, which basically shows that she did dwindle in popularity. She just wasn't that popular anymore, which is very sad, because this goes on to a different form of content creation, and basically what it's known as is luck. See, here's the thing I think not a lot of people really want to factor in as a content creator. And as a content creator, I think I'm able to weigh in on this quite a bit, because I have my own experiences, good and the bad, with it. Is that when it comes to being a content creator, it doesn't necessarily need to be a YouTuber, you could be a Twitch streamer, whatever. It really does come down to luck, and just where you're at, right place, right time. That's what it really does come down to, because it's very clear that Kana is talented. I think anyone that is honestly watching this show and looks at Kana as a character, she's incredibly talented. She is someone that is very skilled at what she does. She's a good actor, she's a good singer, she's good at playing different roles, getting into characters. She's legitimately a really good, she's really good at what she does. But the problem is clearly she's not popular. And that question that comes to mind is, why? Why isn't she? Is it because of her personality? Is it because she's bad at something? And obviously she's cynical about herself. She's basically constantly putting herself down, saying that she's not good at something or whatever, which implies that she just thinks she's terrible. But in reality, we get to see the opposite of that. She's not. So why is that? It's luck. And to kind of explain, She is someone that obviously made waves, and she was at the right place and right time as a child actor. But as she grew older, people's interest in her overall faded, and new things and new trendy things came about, and also the algorithm and everything plays a huge part. Sometimes if you put out music or whatever, if it, is like there's a holiday somewhere around the world, maybe people won't have as much interest in that song in that given day because their attention's on something else. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. Uploading videos like when the Super Bowl happens or whatever, sometimes that can actually hurt you because of the algorithm, like on YouTube. As someone that, is at the whims of the algorithm, it does come to that as well for Kana and different people what their interests are. It just depends on the trends and what people are into at that given moment. And it's very clear that Kana obviously fell out of that trend. She basically fell out of the algorithm. She wasn't lucky, and that's what happened. And you can be the most talented individual. You can be someone that is capable of making some of the best content in any category, but it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get into a big role as someone online or as an actor or whatever, because it just really does come down to human interest, and if you're lucky enough for people to take notice and for it to, really kick off. And I know that's a very hard pill to swallow, and it's very hard pill to swallow for myself as well, is because there's oftentimes I've uploaded videos that I've put a lot of time and dedication into, put hours to days of work into, and even sometimes weeks and months, and then it turns around to, not do well. If in a video I sit down and record that takes only like 10 minutes, does the best video. And it's just like, really? Like I said, it's very circumstantial. It comes down to just overall luck and consistency, and that's exactly what Kana really gives me when I see her character, is that she's very unlucky, and that she's always pushed into as a background character instead of someone that is kind of like a main character. Even though she clearly could be, she's just not lucky enough for it. And I feel like that's a nice way to really represent her, honestly. She's a main character that is forced into the background character role, because she's just not lucky enough to be the main character. So yeah. Anyways, let's get into Ruby. So as I briefly covered with Ruby, in, the beginning of this video, Ruby was someone that was basically capable of not dancing at the start, and then she's now able to dance. She's really good at it, and I love seeing her progression, kind of trying to lead the group into the right way. You get to see just the way the YouTube channel looks and all that. It's very cute, and I just like how she really is the up-and-coming Ai, her mother, and it's beautiful. It's really nice to see her just carrying on that legacy of her mother in her own way, and she's very cheerful about it. It's beautiful. It really is a beautiful moment. As for Aqua, Aqua gets a lot of stuff in this episode, and he's a fan that's learning the dirty secrets of Ai, and this goes into the whole concept of don't ever know your heroes. Because sometimes, we idolize individuals, we put them on this pedestal that is just so grand that when we finally meet them, they're nowhere near what you thought they were, and your overall opinion of them just dwindles down to non-existence. And in this case, what the director is trying to say to Aqua is that if you get to know who really Ai is behind all the lies and the mask, you're probably not going to like her. You're probably not going to enjoy who she is because she's a completely different person than what you actually think she is. So it's best to live in that fantasy than actually know the truth. And this is kind of playing with the overall emotions of just people that think of actors or content creators, different things like that. Because many people think of stuff like that and they're like, oh, this actor is basically amazing. He's a 10 out of 10 person, a decent human being, or he's decent at everything. And then you come to find out, there's something wrong with him or something. This happens, and I like how this is also coming to the surface, is that, sometimes it's better to live in that fantasy than really meet them and have that just reality destroyed. So yeah, it's a legit good episode. Like, I really love this episode of Oshi no Ko. It's beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful sequences, choreography, cinematography. They did a good job, as always. Another banger episode, and I'm never disappointed when I watch this show. The only thing that's really sad is looking at the episode count. We are getting very close to the end. We got 2 episodes until the ending of Oshi no Ko, which is sad. I'm going to miss the series when it does come to an end, but I'm going to bet you we're going to get a season 2 eventually. But yeah, I guess I'll leave the video at that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. It helps with the algorithm as well. Since I have been talking about the algorithm a lot, please do subscribe. Helps me. And leave a like too. But be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.